So my brother forced me to watch the Star Wars prequels with him because winter break has been dog shit and we've had nothing better to do. I had no desire to watch these movies because I remembered all the negative attention they got when they came out. Which I do admit, some of the negative points are true. But after watching them with a fresh mindset and forgetting about most of it, I learned that these movies aren't nearly as bad as people say they are. It honestly pisses me off to see these movies go so overlooked by Star Wars fans, and I'm fucking done. I'm gonna tell the maybe 100 people that will watch my video why I think these movies don't get the praise they deserve. Now I'm gonna talk about my favorite parts about these movies, and this is gonna be a longer video since I have so much to cover with only the fight scenes. Maybe if this is well received, I'll make more videos talking about the other Star Wars movies beyond just the prequels. But anyways, here we go. But first, if you've gotten to this point in the video, go subscribe to my channel with post notifications on so you can be notified about my awesome content. And if you end up liking the video, maybe even give it a like and a comment. Alright, on with the video.
Our woman, our queen, if she breathes, she's a god!
The fight scenes in these movies are the best the mainline Star Wars movies have ever seen. Lightsabers are supposed to be wielded by the most skilled and disciplined masters, and the fight scenes in these movies perfectly portray that. Each character has their own unique style while still maintaining the same skill and focus. For example, Yoda is a little gremlin motherfucker, so he has to do lots of acrobatics to keep up with the longer reach of his opponents, and he does a lot of flips to build up momentum on his swings. While someone like Anakin depends on controlled, powerful swings, which reflects his internalized anger and aggression. And Palpatine does a spin move because it's fucking funny. All of the fights in these movies perfectly portray the characters by showing us their personality through their art form. All of the actors worked so hard to make these fights special, and I hate how these movies are dismissed because of some nitpicky things. Now, are you going to compare these artistic masterpieces of choreography to the original trilogy, where two dudes mindlessly prod at each other with laser dildos? The fight scene in A New Hope bores me so much to the point where I want to fast forward the scene. And in that dog shit scene, no one even dies in a cool way. Obi-Wan just vanishes into thin air. If you're going to make me suffer through that pathetic scene, at least let me see some arms fly. Oh, or maybe you prefer the new trilogy where untrained dumbasses swing lightsabers at each other like baseball bats. You know when I said that each character has their own style in the prequel trilogy? Well, this is the exact opposite. All they're doing in these movies is mindlessly swinging as if they were two toddlers using wrapping paper tubes as swords. Rey was literally able to beat Kylo Ren when it was her first time holding a lightsaber. Can you see how these movies just ruin lightsabers? There's a video by Robothead that perfectly explains my point, so I'm going to link the video in the description, so check it out to see a more in-depth conversation about it. But back to the prequels, because I need to talk about some of these fight scenes. Specifically, Yoda versus Palpatine, baby. This shit was so fucking sick. Throughout the entire series, we see Yoda as some crazy old guy on a swamp planet. But now what? Now Yoda's gonna give Zack the biggest hard-on of his life. So it starts with them talking, and then Yoda gets absolutely bodied into the wall, right? Yoda plays fucking dead, and then gets to jump on Palpatine. These motherfuckers then get on one of the Senate hover things while fighting in the floating Senate with the fucking Darth Maul music playing. Yoda's doing like 100 fucking flips while Palpatine's just parrying them all. And then these chads just hop off the hover thing and Palpatine starts throwing pieces of the Senate at Yoda. Like, holy shit, this is how you do a cool fight scene. Yoda loses and escapes, but still definitely proved himself by tangoing against possibly the most powerful Sith Lord in the series. And then, we have the obvious contender for the best fight in Star Wars. Obi-Wan versus Anakin. This shit was just as badass. They're literally fighting on a fucking lava planet that looks like hell. It's a beautiful display of skill and leaves an emotional impact on the viewer because of the context behind the fight. They're just fucking flipping all over the place in this fight. They jump over fucking lava rivers. They go through thermal power plants, and they even fight on a hovercraft thing. And when Obi-Wan wins the fight, we get an incredibly emotional scene between him and Anakin that left a profound impact on me after watching. So I think you can guess how I feel about these fights in the prequels. I could make an entire video talking about each fight in these movies because I love each and every one in their own way. But this slide is getting way too long, so I'm going to move on to the next one.
I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
Anakin as a character is something that goes mostly overlooked when it comes to the prequels. I think he has some of the best character development I've ever seen. Was he completely unbearable in Attack of the Clones for being the most awkward fucking mess I've ever seen in cinema? Totally. Does it affect my respect for the character development? No. Mostly because even though he was a really robotic and uncomfortable in Attack of the Clones, his character development is still brilliant. We get to see him slowly begin to reject his master's teachings and advice and complains about how he deserves better. This movie really began to show us how his mind was slowly beginning to devolve into Darth Vader as thoughts of love, passion, and anger keep poisoning his thoughts. He also uses the Force to carry a pair for no fucking reason, which makes it really hard for me to talk about how I like his character. It's almost like he's changing by the minute and we get to experience every second. We get to follow him through his life and see how he changes to the point where he kills Mace Windu, one of his mentors he's known all his life. Mace Windu isn't dead. You've been lied to your entire pathetic lives. Let me explain. So he gets his arm chopped off and gets thrown off a building in Coruscant. So he must be dead, right? Fucking wrong. You know who else got thrown into a bottomless pit and survived? Literally most of the characters who've gotten thrown into bottomless pits. Who, you might ask? How about Palpatine, Anakin, and Obi-Wan? And you know who got thrown down a pit with a missing arm to boot? Luke fucking Skywalker. And you know who fell down a bottomless pit without fucking legs? Darth Maul. And he's in the Clone Wars show. So don't hit me with that bullshit that Mace Windu fucking died. Mace Windu is still alive and he's gonna be in The Mandalorian.
I don't like sand.
I also just love the chemistry between Obi-Wan and Anakin, as Obi basically watches Anakin grow up. They make such good jokes together, and the actors really make it seem like they truly love each other, which makes it all the more heartbreaking when Obi-Wan is forced in his mind to kill Anakin. But to finish off the topic, I think Anakin's character is really well written beyond the second movie in the trilogy, where he's just a fucking dumbass. Since The Phantom Menace came out in 1999, I think its special effects hold up to this day. They're convincing enough to the point where it's not jarring to watch, and that's all I can ask for in a movie. Even though some of the environments look horrible, like this field hurt my eyes. But stuff like the underwater fish chase scene looked really cool, and is probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie because of the creative monsters. The lightsabers look great, and I love the little sparks that fly off when they hit walls or other lightsabers. Attack of the Clones looks even better, with a massive improvement in comparison to the first movie, even though some of the wide shots look really bad. But seeing Coruscant at night was super impressive and really well done in my opinion. Then in Revenge of the Sith, the effects are phenomenal and still hold up to this day. Is it as good as Avengers Endgame? Of course not, but it definitely is a feast for the eyes, especially with the settings. The effects in the prequels really helped this movie age because the mix of practical effects and special effects really solidify these movies as classics that will stay impressive for years to come. Now get ready for this conclusion because it might get you pissed. I've been tiptoeing around this for the whole video and I'm gonna say it. Grab your torches and pitchforks because I'm done hiding my true feelings based on what others think. Here we go. I think the prequel trilogy is the best trilogy in the mainline Star Wars movies. The original trilogy is dated as hell and is a bit overrated, and the new ones suck balls. There, I said it. So yeah, I highly recommend that you rewatch this trilogy that you might have dismissed before and give it another chance. I did, and I learned that they weren't as bad as I thought. If I were to rate each movie, I would give The Phantom Menace a 7 out of 10, Attack of the Clones a 7 out of 10, and Revenge of the Sith a 9 out of 10, averaging the prequels at a solid 8 out of 10. Please don't kill me. This was definitely one of my longest videos in a while, but I really put a lot of work into it, so if you could like, subscribe, or even leave a comment, that would be really great. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.